The most widely read book on earth. More than 1,800,000,000 people claim to live their lives by it. Millions say they are willing to die for it. Millions have been willing to kill for it. And yet most of the people who read it have no idea what it actually says. I'm talking about the Quran. And here is the question almost no one asks. How do you die for something you haven't read? How do you kill for something you don't understand? Let's try a simple experiment. There are Muslims watching this video right now. I want you to answer one basic question in the comments. What does Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 156 say? If you don't know, ask yourself this. How many times have you read Surah Al-Baqarah? This is where something feels deeply wrong. Think about it. A book described as sacred. A book said to explain the meaning of life. A book believed to guide all of humanity. Wars have been fought for it. Lives have been lost for it. Yet the majority of those who read it do not know what they are reading. Many Muslims read the Quran, but they read it without understanding it. Surveys conducted in Turkey indicate that around 70% of Muslims have never read the Quran from beginning to end in a language they understand. At the same time, nearly 90% say, yes, I read the Quran. How is that possible? The answer is simple. They read the Arabic script, but they don't know what the words mean. And this is where things become disturbing. You attend a course. You are taught letters, pronunciation, rules of recitation, memorization. But almost no one asks the most important question. What does this actually mean? And if you dare to ask, you are told, you can't understand it without Arabic. Scholars will explain it. Read commentary. Just recite. Let's pause for a moment. There is no other part of life where we behave like this. If a doctor gives you medication, you don't take it without knowing what it does. If a lawyer hands you a contract, you don't sign it without reading it. You wouldn't do that, because it would be reckless. Because it would be dangerous, because it would leave you open to manipulation. But when it comes to religion, this behavior becomes acceptable. More than acceptable, it becomes sacred. A Muslim sees Arabic writing on the ground. They don't know what it says, but they pick it up. They kiss it. They place it somewhere high. Why? Because it might be the Quran. They don't know, but the possibility alone is enough. So let's ask the real question. What exactly is sacred? Meaning or form? Is Arabic writing itself sacred, or is the message behind it sacred? If meaning is what matters, why is understanding ignored? If form is what matters, then this is no longer an intellectual guide. It is a psychological ritual, and this is where the entire structure collapses. The Quran presents itself as a guide, but a guide must be understood. The Quran presents itself as a message, but a message must be comprehended. An unread guide, an undelivered message becomes an object. So how did we end up here? Why was understanding pushed aside? There are three possibilities, and all of them are uncomfortable. The first is this. Recitation itself became worship. Meaning became secondary. The message was replaced by ritual. Sound became sacred. Rhythm became sacred. Memorization became sacred. Meaning faded. Ask yourself, is this really why the Quran was revealed? Because the Quran itself repeatedly says, do you not think? Do you not reason? Will you not reflect? If it was meant only to be recited, why does it constantly call for thought? Which brings us to the second, darker possibility. A person who understands asks questions. A person who asks questions thinks. A person who thinks does not obey blindly. And a person who does not obey blindly is difficult to control. Was understanding discouraged for this reason? A person who does not understand a text cannot interpret it. A person who cannot interpret it becomes dependent on authority. So who becomes that authority? Religious leaders? Institutions? Tradition? If you could understand the Quran directly, what would you need them for? If you could learn from the text yourself, what power would remain in their hands? This is where power shifts, and power is rarely surrendered. Here is a familiar example. A 17-year-old student in a Quran course reads a verse. The student asks, "Teacher, does this verse allow a man to hit a woman?" The teacher becomes angry. "You can't understand that. You need context. You need Arabic." The student asks again, "But wasn't the Quran revealed for everyone?" The response hardens. "Your faith is weak. Stop questioning." And the student falls silent. How many questions end like this? How many minds are shut down? Maybe the problem isn't a lack of answers. Maybe it's fear of questions. Because when answers are weak, silencing is easier. The third possibility is the most dangerous. Maybe the Islam people were taught does not fully align with the Islam in the Quran. Maybe someone raised on tradition who actually reads and understands the Quran will notice contradictions. And that is where the fear lies. If people read the Quran, will they leave religion, or will they leave the version of religion they were taught? Are those the same thing? Is Islam the Quran, or is Islam tradition? If the Quran is genuinely understood, which one survives? Think about it. Why do millions defend a book they haven't read? Why are people willing to fight for something they don't understand? And why is asking this treated as an attack? If a book claims to be a guide but no one understands it, it is not a guide. It is a symbol. If a book claims to be a manual for life but no one knows what's inside it, it is not a manual. It is a talisman. And a talisman is not faith. It is superstition. Was the Quran revealed to hang on walls, to protect cars, to bring blessing into houses? Or was it revealed to be read, understood, and lived? If it was the second, why isn't that happening? Some of you are angry right now. You think this is an attack. But pause. I asked one question. Why don't you read it? And instead of answering, you attack the question. That should tell you something. If you defend the Quran without reading it, you are not defending the Quran. You are defending identity. If you glorify it without understanding it, it is not content to you. It is a symbol. If you are afraid to question it, you do not truly trust it. Because truth survives scrutiny. If something is true, questioning clarifies it. If something is false, questioning exposes it. But if you never question, you will never know which one it is. You will only know one thing. This is my side. And that is not faith. That is loyalty. So let me ask you directly. Have you read the Quran from beginning to end, in a language you understand? Thinking about what it says. If your answer is yes, you are a minority. If your answer is no, ask yourself one final question. What exactly am I defending? A book I have read, or a system that told me not to read it? We don't provide answers here. We ask questions, because sometimes a single question is more unsettling than thousands of verses, especially if those verses were never understood.